Kadaboom and welcome to the Lume-what-us.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Cub-what-us collection of the Lume-what-us edition.
Is it cubitus? Is it like a Latin
Cubitus,
or
cubitus?
Is it cubitus?
I don't think it makes any bit of difference.
If we were in the US, you would say cubitus, no?
No, I'd say cubitus.
Cubitus. But that would be trying to speak Latin.
Yes,
Cubitus,
in US
cubitus.
we only speak what's called Pig Latin, which is a bit different.
Yeah, cubitus.
But
cubitus erectus.
Anywho,
okay.
So we have a new watch in our midst, right? And we'll talk about it.
Hermit?
A new watch, the Cub-what-us.
Yes,
the Cub-what-us.
Cubitus eremitus erectus.
Cubitus masturbatus.
Sapiens. Sternensis. Thierry Sternensis.
God bless. Absolutely disgustingus.
Well, we'll talk about this later because it's the highlight, right? So we have to do this later.
It could be a low light. Actually.
No, it could be. Yeah, that's true. It could be a low light, but I do think it has so much promise.
If you tell me it has potential,
it has promise. No, I tell you later why I think it has promise. Let's see. Okay.
All right. So
what's on your wrist? I heard a small bird told
through the
me,
grapevine.
Yeah, that
I overspent on a Seiko.
That you ruined your life spending all your money on a Seiko, and it's your favorite watch.
I love it. I love it. And this morning I sent you a picture, essentially of the Hodinkee Timex, the gray dial one, and I realized, oh my God, Hodinkee copied this entire look. And essentially, the Seiko that I got was known as the Navigator Timer, otherwise known as a Navi Timer, which somebody back in the 60s was not too fond of them using this name. So today it's called the Land GMT. Nonetheless, this is the Seiko SPB 411. Okay. So I've been looking for a Seiko for quite a long time, and I was always kind of on the hunt for a Seiko. I didn't know what Seiko I wanted. I wanted it to kind of be historical. I really like the divers, the historical, skin divers that they had. The 62 MAS, that kind of stuff. But once again, those that know me, I hate date windows. So I was waiting for something where I could say, okay, the date window is justified. And that came in the form of the GMT, the Seiko, what was it called? The one with the northeast south bezel, the internal bezel. I'm blanking on it.
The Alpinist.
Alpinist.
Yes.
So that was originally what I had in mind for myself. And I was like, you know what? If I see the right one, I'll buy it. Because once again, as in my OCD, as long as it has a GMT function, the date window can be bypassed, as with other calendar functions, right?
Okay.
So I don't want a three-hander with a date is essentially where I am at. But I did not like the cathedral hands and the styling of the Alpinist. So I was like, I guess, I don't know. I'm not going to spend that much money on it.
I had an Alpinist once, the green one. And
the green was the one everyone...
ended up selling it.
Yeah, so I like the blue one, but still, once again, leave it. So I saw a video. I don't know how I missed this watch release. It came out last year in November. I was watching a Watch Crunch video. And essentially he was saying, 3 affordable GMTs, quote unquote, affordable. And I saw this and I was like, what is this? And I saw the Seiko. And I thought to myself, that is really nice. So I immediately went to Amazon. Obviously it's not on Amazon. Then I immediately went to eBay and I saw the prices and I was like, it was like 6,000 dirhams. The cheapest one I found so far to date was 5,200.
Okay.
And that's plus shipping, plus VAT and import duties. So it's for all intents and purposes, 6,000 dirhams. So I said, no way. I'm not going to order a 6,000 dirham Seiko from God knows where on eBay and pay 6K for it. And B, 6K for a watch I haven't seen, I haven't touched, I haven't felt.
Yeah.
So we went to, one day, last Saturday, we were just walking around and I happened to be in the mall where our Seiko dealer is. And I walk into the Seiko dealer. I'm always looking around. Generally speaking, I look at G-Shocks and I look at Seikos. And they know me already. And I wanted to get my Grand Seiko bracelet sized, even though I'm never going to wear it. But I felt it should be sized just in case. So I got that size and then I started looking in the window and I'm like, and I saw this gray box that says limited edition. I'm like, what? And then I noticed this is the exact watch that I wanted to see. So I looked at it. Retail price was $6,200, I believe. So I'm like, oof, 6,200. It limited to 4,000 pieces. And I told the guy, that's not very limited at all. And he's like, but it's Seiko. For Seiko, it's limited. And I said, nah, I guess. And I said, okay, well, let's do a discount and I'll buy it. And because I was trying it on, I'm like, wow, this is perfect. It's 38 millimeters in size. The friction bezel is absolutely beautifully silky smooth. The gray sunburst dial is fantastic. The Jubilee bracelet it comes on is unbelievable precision compared to my SKX that I used to have. This is like night and day. It's phenomenal. And the guy's like, oh, sorry, sir. Sorry, no discount. This is limited, no discount. And I'm like, well, all right, I'm going to pass on it. So I knew the manager of the boutique. I messaged him and I said, what can you do? And he said, let me talk to the brand manager and we'll see for our good customer, Mr. Martin.
Yes, indeed.
And then he comes back to me and said, sir, I could give you 3% discount.
Okay.
And I said, make it 10 and we got a deal. And he said, no. 3%. That is all I can do.
There you go. 3%.
So brought it down to 5,900, which I was like, okay, fine. Halas, done. So I went, tried it on, sized it, and it was beautiful. And here it is right here on my wrist.
All right. Yeah.
The gray dial is absolutely fantastic.
Has a monochromatic look. It's good.
Very much, except for the GMT hand is red.
Yeah, I like the accents when there's a bit of an accent and it's nice.
Yeah. So I it's hand winding, it's hacking, it's everything you want from a proper watch. It is a collar GMT and not the traveler GMT function, which once again, who cares? But when I did bring it home, we had a nice little issue. Not an issue. I got a little scared. The GMT hand was not lining up with the hour markers. It was just like a hair past it. And so I started Googling and I was looking at it and people said, kind of let it run a little bit and you'll figure it out. It kind of, everything gets in sync. And I don't know how, or I don't know why, but I let it run. I've been letting it run now for 3 days. And the GMT hand did in fact sync up.
I was reminded about this when Ming had their customer service issue with her GMT watch, right? When they used the 24-hour hand for something and they had the same issue. Whenever you set the watch, the hands were not aligned properly. And then they said, but wait just an hour or two, let it run, and it will just
catch up,
sync itself, right?
Makes no sense.
Somewhat it just does it, right? The mechanism. So it's a bit slightly misaligned when you set it with the friction or power or torque. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either, especially because it's a jumping GMT hand, right? So instead of the hour hand jumping, it's the GMT hand that jumps by the hour. And that, of course, when you jump it, I can see how it would be unaligned for a little bit. And then it has to the cogs have to catch up a little bit and then. Yeah,
and just get into the equilibrium somewhat, right?
Yeah. But now it's going, seems to be spot on right around. So I love it. I think it's a fantastic travel watch. It's a Seiko after all, so everybody's going to think it costs 50 dirhams. So nobody would look twice at it.
Not so cheap. Seiko,
they still have
always more expensive.
But they're getting more expensive. Yeah. But if you look on eBay right now, you can still buy a 400 dirham Seiko, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, eBay, sure,
Seiko 5.
And used and all of the stuff, sure.
No, on Amazon, new. You could still get the old, I don't know what it was called.
Is it really just that? I'm not so sure if they're as cheap anymore. I think the old Seiko 5s, maybe.
Now, the old Seiko 5 535 dirhams.
Yeah, see, about 600 range. That's 500. What I was thinking, yeah.
The
so
Arabic numeral,
like
this one's 500 dirhams. Used to be the very plain one. They used to be much less. I'm sure if I kept going, here's 489. We're already in the 400s, 473. So it depends on the color and the combo and whether it's on a bracelet or strap. 438. Here you go. 438 on the Jubilee bracelet. So yeah, you can get it for 400. Super cool. I like it.
Talking about travel watches, I also bought myself a travel watch.
Is it for traveling or is it a function of traveling?
No, it's both. It is this one here. It is a Casio.
Oh, it looks like a Casio, yes.
It looks like a safari watch because it's supposed to be. And I just share the screen with you and seeing that is the one. That is the GAB 2100 CT-580R. So, because I would like solar and Bluetooth, so that's that. So I have world time, I have a timer, I have an alarm, I have solar charging. So that's it.
I like it. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it does look really nice, and I really wanted to have it on the one with the cloth strap here, right?
Yeah,
it looks a bit like a NATO strap. It has even these two metal keepers. It's really very comfortable and it's really nice. And I thought this is perfect for safari. It has the safari colors, the khaki stuff, right? So I thought, yeah, that's it. That's my travel watch now for Africa.
That is cool. I like it.
And I thought that, because today is my birthday, so I thought that's
happy birthday. Nobody ever tells me
small
anything.
Present. Nobody ever tells you about other people's birthday.
I don't tell anybody about mine. I went to the extreme that I actually removed my birthday from Facebook, so nobody would know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and then I had a friend, by the way, who did the opposite. He every couple months would change his birthday to be on that day. And then you get 100, messages saying, happy birthday, happy birthday. And then 2 months later, he'd send his birthday again. And people are just blindly sending messages because Facebook tells them to do so.
Absolutely.
So every 2 months, and I noticed, I said, dude, wasn't like your birthday 2 months ago? And then I went back and realized that he'd been changing his birthday the whole time.
Yeah. And so I went to the boutique here in the Dubai Mall, and they had the watch for 805 dirhams. So I told them, hey, the watch house offers that off online with 20%.
20%.
Yeah. And he said, I can give you 10. I said, well, then I'd rather buy online. And then he said, okay, I can give you 20 then as well. I said, okay, then I'll pick it up.
Genius.
But I just love these things. And you know what? These new ones here, when you get them and you connect them first time to your app, I got a firmware update.
For your watch?
For my watch, yes. And not for any of my old G-Shocks that have a Bluetooth module, but for this one, the new one actually is updatable. And it immediately told me, hey, in order to use the watch, you should absolutely update to the latest version. And I said, okay, well, let's do it. And it says, yeah, well, only if it's fully charged.
And then you brick your phone or your watch.
Phone, right? But, and this is the cool thing. I am, of course, prepared. I don't want to put it on my windowsill for like a day or so.
So you have the UV light?
No, I have a different one. I have this cool contraption. It started its life as a headlight. this thing that you can put on your head and then lighten it up. It has about, 15, 20 LEDs in it. It has these rubber rings that you put on top, so it's very soft, right? And then you basically put your watch just on top of it, right? You just switch it
upside down.
Switch it on. It has you can actually put batteries in it, and then you switch it on. Put your watch on top of it. Oops, I don't know if you can see this here.
Yeah.
And then it just charges it relatively quickly. So after 1 hour, then I was able to charge, to do the firmware update and then do all of the other functions, because otherwise the app just said, no, you update first. And I thought, like, what the hell? What the hell is that?
Interesting.
Anyhow, so that was that. And I could use the watch then. And since then, I just left it for a few hours on this thing, and it's now fully charged. Which is the challenge with these solar watches sometimes. If you live in a country where you don't have a windowsill with a light, or you have windows that are not like ours, super UVA, UVB covered. Your watch can get very hot, which is not good for the battery, right? So some people do this in a way. I read everything about these solar watches charging. So that means some people put it in a glass of water and then put it.
So the water refracts the light and it's not full blast.
It cools it. The water
also
cools the watch,
it,
and lets most of the light through because it's not too much water, right? So that it actually charges but keeps the watch cool. So the battery doesn't overheat and doesn't get too hot, which is bad for the battery.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, in any case, the watch is like 6 months with no light. It will run, but I usually try to every 1 month take all my watches out, put them on the windowsill, give them a bit of a watch spa, charge them up. So, because these batteries love to be full, apparently.
Yeah.
They don't like to be discharged a lot and charged and discharged and charged. It's not good for their lifetime. So the best lifetime is when they're constantly in the 90-ish range of charge or so. Anyhow, so that's that. It's a plastic, for the listeners, it's a plastic Casio G-Shock with a Bluetooth module and a solar charging and a cloth strap in a khaki grayish, brownish grayish khaki color. It looks just very safari-ish, like the typical safari gear. Yeah. And now
it looks very cool. I like it. I also I was on the fence by buying a 400 dirham, 450 dirham G-Shock. You remember I used to have the yellow one?
Yes.
And then I sold it. And then I'm like, I found another one. And I'm like, should I buy it again? But the issue was, if you remember the big hailstorm, I was wearing that watch when the hailstorm hit, and I was bucketing water out of the house in that watch, and I didn't exactly build a very strong connection with it, if you get my drift.
But that
was the first time wearing it.
You've been through so much together. This watch was helping you in the time of need, and it didn't let you down.
And in this case, I should rebuy it then. I don't know. We'll see.
You have to see it positive. You can also see it reminds me of this bloody hailstorm. But that's not a good way. You have to remember the good side.
I did wear my metal. I told you the other day I need to wear my metal one more. I wore it yesterday.
Yep.
It was nice.
Me too.
It was very nice.
I wore mine. I really.
Yeah, you wore it for a different reason though.
Well,
wasn't that when you went to the event?
No.
The Eventus
was
Maximus?
on Friday.
Okay. We'll talk about the event in a moment.
Yes, because my first event in the week, last week, was a G-Shock event. Should I show you?
I thought the first one I thought was going to be the Bremont.
No, the first one was G-Shock, then Bremont, then Tag Heuer. Let me show you what I got. I got swagger. I got merch.
Ooh.
Just give me 10 seconds, just a second.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and
so here
-1.
So wait.
Okay.
So I
11 seconds. I counted down for the ladies and gentlemen to see how long it took you.
Okay, let me just quickly switch off my background so you can see everything here. So I got this big box.
Jesus. It's a huge Casio G-Shock looking cardboard box about the size of a file folder thing.
No, it's like a small moving box, right?
Yes.
So let me see what's inside. Because the cool thing is 2 of these boxes, they had lots of them piled up in their store. Because it was a store event, right? For the new G-Shock Casio with a rubber band and the light blue dial. I think that was the new one that was being introduced. Anyhow, so in the box, in 2 of these boxes, of all of the boxes they had, was a watch. So it was a bit of a raffle as well.
And which watch? The new one?
It was the one that was new. So that's about 1,000 dirham watch. So not bad. Not bad.
Yeah.
So what did I get? I got a toilet bag.
Okay.
I'm rustling here so that the viewers have some fun.
Nobody can hear it because the
ASMR. Okay.
No, but there's no ASMR because it's
it will be filtered out eventually. Sorry.
The filter takes.
It's a G-Shock toilet bag.
It's cool. It's a nice little toiletry bag.
I have, for whatever reason, I got 2 of these
Little backpacks.
cloth backpack thingies, right? Very light ones. Then I got a G-Shock baseball cap, black.
That's
with
cool.
a big
I like
fat
this.
white G-Shock on it.
Yes.
Then I got a hoodie.
What?
Yeah. And this is a hoodie that's for you because it's too small for me.
What size is it?
It's M.
It doesn't matter. I'll take it.
But it's
take it.
it's actually quite big. I mean, I can fit in it, but it is a bit tight on my belly.
No, you've made the sale. You've made the sale.
So that's for you. And then I got a drinking bottle from G-Shock.
Okay, cool.
And that was it. Yeah.
That hoodie is awesome. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. That's that G-Shock. And it's a nice hoodie. It's with the zipper. So that's I like hoodies with zippers, so you don't have to pull them over your head. Anyhow, so that's that. So that was very nice. I really like this whole merch stuff always, right? That's always nice.
Always like merch. What is this?
I don't know.
This whole.
I think this watch merch stuff is just nice,
Yeah, I got from Tudor a bunch of merch. Because I always go to the bicycle race, right? And Tudor has a cycling team. So last time I was impressed. I was wearing the FXD back when I still had it. And I would say from 10 meters out, one of the guys was like, nice watch. So they actually know what they're looking at, which I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
So, and I told them, I said, I came to see you guys just specifically for it. I wore this watch for you guys. So they gave me a bunch of swag. They gave me some those cycling caps with little peaks. And then they gave me a baseball cap and a whole bunch of other stuff, which was super cool.
Yeah, so that was that event. It was really nice to see lots of other people, a lot of influencers there, all of this stuff going on for the G-Shock crowd. So it was pretty cool, really cool. So lots of people from our watch group were there. It was fun. And then I went to Bremont. Bremont was in the Alserkal Avenue. It's our artsy-fartsy area, basically, where lots of art galleries are, lots of, more interesting things, photo-related shops and other things there, where you can do like courses and other things, and develop your prints and all of this little things, of course. Art galleries, as I said before, paintings, sculptures, all of this stuff, and event areas. And they had a whole big event area, Yossa, that was rented by Siddiqui, and they basically presented the new Bremont 500-meter full ceramic Supermarine. Very nice diving watch, which I actually liked way more than I thought I would. And Davide Cerato was there. All the people from Siddiqui were there. It was really very, very full. It was a huge event place with lots of exhibitions from Bremont, and of course a big area DJ was there, and lots of really cool mocktails being served, and nice food, and that was really, really lovely. So a nice event with a very little speech, but a lot of chances to talk to the people there. Talk to Davide Cerato and others. And yeah, that was the Bremont event. And it was quite interesting to see the reactions to some of the watches from people who are not too deep into watches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you ask them, so what do you think? Oh, that was, a lot of people actually pointed out some watches that are the older Bremont and said, I like this one.
I like this one.
I was like, oh, okay, that's well. But some people also like the newer ones, so that was good. Anyhow, then there they had a very nice. They had also swagger. I got a goodie bag when we went out. One is this field notes book here.
Yeah.
Then, of course, a catalog was in the bag here, the Bremont catalog, which is actually pretty nice, with a compass here on the back of.
I see.
And I want to read you something from it, because that's actually one of the nicest introductions of a catalog that I've seen. It's from Davide, of course, and he basically said, as a letter from the CEO, and I have to say that I have to read this because it's for all the Bremont haters out there. right? And he says, it's an honor to lead this British watchmaking company. The work the team has done over the years to establish Bremont as a world-leading watchmaker is both exemplary and inspirational. Purpose and meaning are the lifeblood of the brand's core principles. As the new CEO, I felt I need to explore the origin and founding purpose of British watchmaking's provenance and to ensure that it is both understood and woven through all of our work here at Bremont. Our love of exploration and adventure, combined with our ability to design and make practical tool watches to an expert level, provides a clear architecture to the brand. Our tool watches are designed around the principles of air, land, and sea, and they are built to thrive in any environment. Our new blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm paraphrasing a bit. I'm skipping a bit. Bearing oversized full-block superluminova numerals for enhanced readability alongside a case constructed from durable 904L stainless steel, we have embodied the spirit of the perfect field watch. See, that's about the Terra Nova.
Yeah.
Then the Supermarine, and so on and so on. But we said these are purposeful products, expertly engineered and practical in execution. Our mission at Bremont is to design and make the world's most capable tool watches. Take them with you on your adventures. They will be worthy and reliable companions wherever your journey takes you. See you out there. Davide Cerato.
So my reaction
I found
once again,
very sweet and very purposeful.
Davide Cerato is the equivalent of Daniel Ricciardo. He was big at Tudor, and just like Daniel was big at Red Bull at the beginning.
Yes.
And then he made a bunch of sideways steps that eventually got him to the place where he is now.
He was a director
which is
at Tudor.
Bremont.
He was CEO of watches for Montblanc, right?
Mm-hmm. And what did he do there?
CEO of HWT. Well, the Geosphere and a couple of other, the 1940s.
Yeah, nobody cared. Nobody cared.
No, but
he's made a lot of weird decisions, and I don't understand. And the problem is, and we discussed this off the podcast, you and I, after designing something like the Black Bay.
Yeah.
There's really nowhere else you can go. You're never going to follow that up. It might have been
his best work, right? It is unfortunate if your best work comes early in your career.
And once again, Daniel Ricciardo, he tried and he was good. His Monaco, win in whenever it was 2015, 14. And then it's just all downhill from there. And I feel like Davide Cerato is following in Daniel Ricciardo's footsteps.
Yeah, I think, let's see where.
And he's hopping around. I've never seen anyone hop around this much, except Daniel Ricciardo.
But Davide wasn't. I mean, he was like, 10 years. Is that a bad
10 years?
I don't know how long he was at Mont Blanc, but I guess.
He was at Tudor in 2012, right? Let me see if I can...
you could check his LinkedIn.
That's what I'm going for.
Anyhow, so what I got as a swagger there as well was a drinking bottle, but not a cheap one, but a one from Yeti. So a really good Explorer drinking bottle, thermos thing, right? And I thought, that is really good. That is really nice. So
I can't see his thing. Unfortunately, it's not showing. But we know that he's been at Tudor.
Mm-hmm.
He's been at Bremont. He's been at.
So I can see it. So
okay, go. Because
he is for 1 year and 6 months at Bremont. He was for 5 years at the managing director of the watch division for Montblanc, and for 8 years he was at the head of marketing, design, and product development at Tudor. And before that, he was for 2.5 years at Panerai.
Okay. So in the same way.
Then his HYT, 1 year and 11 months, we probably can forget the HYT because that was tough. HYT.
Sure it was. So let me see here. In a comparison, I'm trying to see if I can find an equivalent thing. So I'm trying to find Daniel Ricciardo's history. Formula One career. 2009 to 2011, test driver for Red Bull. Then HRT for 2011, which was Hispania Racing. Then Toro Rosso, 2012 to 2013. So lots of these 1 year stints, 2 year stints. Then Red Bull, 2014 to 2018. That's his 4 years at Tudor. Right? Okay. And then afterwards, everything just falls apart. Renault, 2019 to 2020. Then McLaren 2021, 2022, again a year. Then AlphaTauri 2023, 2024, and now he's back to no one. And this is exactly this popping around, not knowing what he's trying to do because he started out too strong.
Maybe
he can't live up to that.
Maybe the expectations are so high, right?
It is. Like, I mean,
let's see where he goes, because we will see if time will be gentle on the designs, right? Because the Terra Nova.
To prove me wrong, he wouldn't go. He wouldn't go anywhere. But I don't believe people are speaking about Bremont in very high regards right now.
I know that in the enthusiast community, I think it's a tough sell, because people seem to have way more of a soft spot or liking for Bremont, because now suddenly people are there's so much complaining about Bremont, right?
Yeah.
Before, nobody cared. But now suddenly everybody cares, which is very surprising.
It's like, it's one of these situations where you're like, okay, it's there, we live with it, nobody cares about it. And then as soon as you take it away, you're like, but wait, what
exactly.
happened
I like
here?
the old one. It's like, wait a second, but did you buy one? No, but I liked it more.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows?
Anyhow,
so
but
that one is a little bit.
The highlight of my week was the event at, and I have to show you where it was. It was in the Mandarin Oriental Jumeirah Beach, right? Which you have been to.
I've been to that,
but we haven't been to the Royal Penthouse.
Oh, no, I didn't book that one last time I was there.
It's 2 floors. Obviously, it's a penthouse on the big rooms, the big living rooms, and the big kitchen area. So it was, the dining room, all of this stuff was, of course, emptied, right? And then there was displays and all of this stuff. We had a patisserie chef, Ines Chati, I hope I pronounced this correct. She's French, and she made some amazing desserts made with Edelweiss. The flower that is actually very protected.
Yeah.
But no Edelweiss was harmed in the process. It was taken from a private garden, so it's all very okay. It was grown for that purpose. But it was amazing stuff that you have never had before. And so, of course, they explained the entire history of TAG Heuer, the racing history, of course, starting with stopwatches, then making the chronographs. And then, of course, the highlight was we had a sit-down meeting with Carole Forestier-Cassapi, the head of movements at TAG Heuer. So we had the chance of asking her all kinds of cool questions. How is the design process? Asked
why they copied Seiko's movement.
Well, she didn't talk about this movement so much, but of course the origins of some movements were based on a Seiko design that they have then eventually, back in the days, had bought the IP. And in the time, like the magic lever and all of this stuff, they have replaced this. But she basically spoke about things in the future, right? So I asked her, so you are at certain times buying movements from outside, and sometimes you're producing them themselves, right? For example, they have done the La Joux-Perret Solar Graph, right? I think it's called Solar Graph in the TAG Heuer, the Aqua Racer or whatever it was with the solar quartz movement.
Yeah.
And I asked, so when do you decide to buy, outside and rather than do it inside, in-house and all of this stuff? And she basically said, you asked the wrong question. She's French, so she's very direct. And it's like, you should ask, why did we choose this movement? And I said, so why? And she said, basically, we have the new normal in luxury watchmaking, which means we have to have movements or watches that have 5-year warranty, 10-year service intervals, and a power reserve of a minimum of 3 days. And in order to do this, she said, we need to up our game, right? We need to have these kind of movements. We need to be robust. And she said, if you build a quartz watch with a normal quartz movement, I cannot do 10-year service interval because you need to change the battery before that time. And that's why we chose solar, because then you don't. Then you can actually do 10-year service warranty, service guarantee, service between service intervals, and 5-year warranty. And I thought, there you go, brilliant, right? And she said, with all of our movements, we will do the 10-year service interval. Everything that's new will be robust, 5-year warranty, blah, blah, blah. And she said, I don't know if it's for public consumption, but she said that this new solar movement has 10% of the warranty claims and the repair frequency of the old one. And these were Swiss quartz movements that they used before. They're not cheap stuff. I mean, they're relatively cheap compared to mechanical movement, but not as cheap, But so that shows how good these kind of movements are. And with the new ones, she said basically the Aqua Racer is the diving watch, but it's not necessarily a watch that Tag Heuer is, or a watch line that Tag Heuer is known for. She said, obviously, with the new Formula One partnership,
they want us to know that they want
you will see lots of chronographs, and obviously we have a watch line called Formula One. Ta-da.
But did they say anything about a reissue of the Kith?
We didn't talk about that.
Was Kith even brought up?
I didn't ask about this because it wasn't top of mind for me, to be honest.
My question is, you wouldn't have tooled up for that, for however many watches they made.
I'm sure there will be special editions galore of this model. I'm with you. There will be probably something like that in a permanent collection. Anyhow, but she said all of these new watches, all of these new things, new chronograph movements that they're working on, all of this stuff will be, of course, the new normal, the new high level of quality.
Yep.
So I asked, if there is a decision when the balance to be struck basically between robustness and prettiness of a movement, which one wins if there is a fight? And she said it's always robustness. So that shows where they're going, right? They want to be really that, and of course precision. She mentioned that as well, right? So she said when chronometer is good but not good enough anymore, Rolex does better, Omega does better than the COSC standard. So for them, naturally, they want to do better too. So
did anyone ask about if they're going to be sponsoring Formula One going forward?
Yeah, it will be Tag Heuer.
Did they mention this?
Yeah. They basically said, we are now sponsoring Formula One. So we as in Tag Heuer. There will be other LVMH brands doing other things.
Yeah.
Right? So
let's talk about that because that's going to be interesting.
I heard champagne that will be used will not be Ferrari champagne anymore.
Yes, exactly. There's going to be Moet Chandon will be the champagne.
Mm-hmm.
I heard they're going to be doing much more Louis Vuitton cases like they did in Monaco with the trophy displays.
Yes.
Which is interesting, by the way, is they did do the Louis Vuitton case then as well, which to me means I think this was already in negotiations at the time. It's just not sheer coincidence that they had a Louis Vuitton trunk.
Yeah, see, I think
the
Rolex didn't wanna cough up more money, obviously, and Louis Vuitton was willing to do more money, but they are very clever business people, so they said, we give you more money, but we need more opportunities, right? For more of our brands, because we have a lot of brands. And that's actually, it's, one hand, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So it worked out quite well, I guess. So we will see next season.
But there's so much stuff that they own. So this can be, having a clothing line, right? So once again, if you look at FIA, and FIA officials, remember they did the collaboration, or they're saying that AlphaTauri will be the clothing sponsor for the FIA, right?
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else took that over as well. Yeah, so there's quite a few things.
The brands, the clothing brands are crazy, If you look at the fashion from Berluti to Celine, Dior, Fendi, Givenchy, Loewe, Kenzo, whatever, you have everything. Remover could be cool.
There are lots of suitcases.
Yeah, Marc Jacobs, and of course Loro Piana, and they're not so.
But even on the lower end, you have Off-White and stuff like this as well on the cheaper, quote unquote, cheaper end.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few things. Also, don't forget a big one, Sephora.
Yeah. All of.
I don't know what they can do with that, but that's but here's the funny thing. I was talking about this in my entrepreneurship class. The students wanted to talk about Sephora. And we were talking about how, if you look at the brands that are sold by Sephora, they're almost exclusively the LVMH brands. So essentially, they are selling their own crap in their own stores.
Of course, why wouldn't they, no?
I know, but that's really funny how incestuous this relationship is.
But this is what I found very interesting was what I found very interesting. I just wanted to see when they were bought by LVMH.
I try to find, I think, 97 or something.
Okay. Anyhow, so what I found very interesting is that we had this amazing suite, and we had, people filming the entire event. We had so much people running around there. I showed you some videos of this. It was amazing. There was so much going on. And then after we were done talking to Carol, somebody came and said, "Oh, Carol, you have to come. The people from the Vogue are waiting," right? So the next interview was Vogue, and we were just one part of it. So Fatma, who invited me to this event, thank you so much. That was such a brilliant event, and I'm really, really looking forward to the next one. It was just, we had such a great time. It was really lovely. And
also, Bremont started following us on our Instagram.
Ooh, very cool.
Which obviously was you talked to the right people, but unfortunately, you don't listen to this episode.
Until you destroyed this relationship with your Daniel Ricciardo.
I'll let you know when they unfollow us. Don't worry.
but what I wanted to say is I found this very interesting. This royal penthouse in the Mandarin Oriental, while Louis Vuitton, LVMH has their own hotel in Dubai, the Bulgari Hotel.
Yeah.
Right? You think like, when they are so incestuous, as you said, why wouldn't they do it in their own hotel?
And why are they in the hotel that happens to be where Vacheron
has a permanent
is based out of?
Yes, exactly. It's like,
Very strange.
Yeah, that was very strange. And and I think that was my very busy event week, right? So that was basically concluding it. And one thing I asked Carol as well, I said, look, she was wearing a Monaco. And she said she loves the Monaco, about this the first watch brand to actually
they all have to say this.
Make
you know
a
that, right?
blue dial and a square case. And when every watch had a white dial and a round case at the time, right? It was completely out of time. They also emphasized the Saudi relationship with TAG, right? And TAG.
I mentioned this. Yeah.
So very interesting how that came to be. But I asked her. I said, "Will you make the Monaco smaller, please, and slimmer, because it is, on my wrist, it just, I feel it doesn't work," right? And she looked at me and said, "Yep." And she said they might even do certain things with a design to make it a bit more hugging on the wrist, right? So it still be square, but they might actually make it more like, I don't know.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about the difference between the Santos 100 XL and then the new Santos that came out. How they slimmed it, how they curved the case.
It just makes it feel better, right? Smaller, even if it's sometimes just visually feeling smaller. Anyhow. So they are working on it. They're making. I think we will see a lot happening with her in this range. And I also asked, from a design perspective, how is it like you have designers who are completely out there and designing stuff and come to you and say like, I want to do this. And then you will say, well, we can only do the subdials in this configuration or in this area. We cannot do this. We cannot do that. Or is it the other way, that you give them a framework and saying like, this is possible, and now you go and design with this framework? And she said it's more this one. It's more that we give a framework of what they can do. Certainly, there are sometimes places where the designers come, but can't we push this a bit more out? Can we do this? Can we do other things? And then there is a discussion about this feasibility and all of the stuff. But that was very interesting. She was very open, and it was really, really refreshing to talk to somebody who really actually is making the stuff, right? Not just, let's say, a business person, but really
correct. Yeah. That's paid to essentially know how to talk to you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
it's really cool. Yeah. Anyhow, and then after that, now we have to talk about the Cubitas,
plural,
Cubitus, the one, but it's now more than one, right? We saw a leak of two, actually.
So now it's
Cubitai, exactly. So, how did it come out? In the Fortune magazine, October-November issue, the PDF version of it, there was on page 2 and 3 a double spread of Patek Philippe, and it said on the one page, build your own tradition or something with a person, some kind of model, not even wearing a watch.
Nobody knows why. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird decision. And on the right side was the new Cub-what-us collection. And it says you never really own a Patek Philippe, blah, 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 blah. And that was it. Not much text at all.
You never actually own a Patek Philippe. You merely take care of it for the next generation, which isn't the same. Somebody pointed this out. It's not the same saying as it was before, right?
So this particular line is a new line of watches from Patek Philippe. This happens only every couple of decades, right? That
millennia.
No, thousands of years between different lines of watches.
Between Pateks, yes.
But the point is, it is rare. And this happening during your lifetime is rare. It might happen 2 or 3 times, right? When you actually collect watches. Because you have to reach a certain age as well. So, when this happens, it's a big thing. At least for Patek, not necessarily for yourself. But this line was supposed to be the entry-level one. An entry-level line of watches in steel that allows new fans to come family members of the brand, basically, right? Your new entry to the brand.
Yeah.
Now, the question is this a watch that actually appeals to the younger generation? Not necessarily the younger generation, but a first-time Patek Philippe buyer?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, since I looked at this picture for a while, my first initial reaction was meh, right? But my first reaction at the Code 1159 was the same, meh. Okay.
My reaction still is meh to the Code 1159.
I like it a bit more since I had it on my wrist because I really
yeah.
like
okay, it did improve. It did improve over the years.
So for this Cub-what-us, I would.
How big is it? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. There's no details. No technical
So this
details.
could be the size of the Monaco that we just talked about. It could be massive. It could be small. We have no idea. Because if this was, 36 millimeters, my opinions would be totally different than if it was 40 millimeters.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think, to be honest, when you see the lugs, right? The first lug thing there, the what do you call it? The center link there poking out. And you see the more you look at it, the more I look at it here, I don't know if you can see this here, where my mouse pointer is, on the sides, when these little, protrusions there, like a crown guard on the side, just to make it.
It's like the somebody told me the elephant ears on the
elephant ears.
Nautilus.
That's exactly the elephant ears. This makes it very nautily for me, right?
It does.
It is
it's
just
very nautily.
an octagonal.
The center link is nautily.
Square-ish. It's not really a square. It's longer on the sides here. So it is really maybe a bit too close to the Nautilus.
Is very close to the Nautilus. But here they're trying to make it more AP Royal Oaky as well.
I also feel a tiny bit sad, to be honest, to see that they have basically reused the dials with a horizontal lines.
It's 100%. It's just, it's absolutely just a Nautilus style.
Even the hands are basically Nautilus hands, right?
Yeah, nothing on the dial changed. That was one of the things that I didn't like.
So that's why I think a lot of people thought initially that's a bad Photoshop job. They thought it's fake.
A lot of
people
thought
that this can't be real. It's fake. It must be fake because it's it's just too similar to the Nautilus. And I don't know. But it could be a good thing once you put it on your wrist.
I don't know. Once again, a lot is going to come down to size and price, right? So if these people tell you that this is going to cost
30, 40,
40,000 dirhams.
No, not dirhams.
No, I'm saying imagine if it did. Then everyone's going to say it's a fantastic watch. If it's 100,000 dirhams, everyone's going to say no way.
I think it will be in this range.
But nonetheless, the hype boys are still going to go out and buy it. It's going to sell. It's a Patek.
See, this is where I'm not so sure, because the idea was to give it to people who don't have a relationship, right? So not a VIP watch.
So how about this? I got an idea for
Patek.
You come into Patek and you have to demonstrate that you don't have a relationship with Patek. And only then can you purchase this watch. So it's kind of a reverse raffle kind of situation where you go in and you are interviewed or interrogated, and only if they think you're absolutely not a Patek owner do you get one.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. See, the comments on this particular thing, we have to read this, right? So I think, what the fuck were they thinking? Then that's freaking hideous. Yeah. Nepotism will ruin Patek. And obviously...
Cartier Santos knockoff.
Yes. And there's no place for this watch. They already have a winner. And I'll stick with Rolex in this case. This is supposed to be the inexpensive sports model in the 30 to 40K range. Yeah. Looks like a knockoff Nautilus. And other people saying that's a Man watch homage. Do you know Man? Did you ever hear of them?
Of who?
They are.
Yes, yeah. Man, yes.
And they have
Man.
I think they're from Sweden or so. I don't know.
I thought it was UK.
Is it UK? No, I'm not so sure. And they have basically made these watches.
They do. It's identical
to us. Yeah, maybe
the Man at Manhattan. Yeah. And I always thought the naming of this watch was really good, but they could have made it better by naming it the Manhattan.
Manhattan, yes.
Put MAEN Hatton in there, and that would have been extremely clever. I mean, they missed the mark on this.
And some people have said that Patek is really man. With his release. Anyways, and some people say Patek Philippe learned from the money grab from AP with the code 1159. Money grab. I mean, this is the thing that I don't understand. It can't be a money grab. People are free to buy it. You don't have to, It is.
Did you know, by the way, I don't know if you know about this, but randomly about this Patek Philippe, now that we're on it, they were offered for sale back in, when was it? When was Patek last sold?
You mean when the Stern family bought it?
Yeah. When was this? 1930 something, I think.
I think so.
And they sold for something like peanuts, right? It was nothing.
Yeah.
It was sold for very little, and it was because they refused. I think it was sold to ETA, right? Or no, sorry. It was offered to ETA before it was offered to the Stern family. And it was offered to, I believe, ETA and Salita. No, it was offered to JLC. My bad. Yeah. JLC.
And they said no.
And JLC refused to buy it. Yeah. And it was peanuts, right? So eventually the Stern family ended up buying it. Mm-hmm. And apparently JLC has very much regretted this.
To a certain extent.
They did. But so Stern family bought it. And the first thing they did was they made the Calatrava. And then, of course, the rest is history.
See, it's interesting to see that the Stern family was a dial maker, right? And they made dials for lots of brands. Rolex as well. Rolex had Stern dials to a certain extent. Rolex was buying dials from lots of different companies at the time, in any case, and still did for a long period of time, because they still make dials. Stern is still a dial maker, right? So they have still dials that they actually sell to other brands. But yeah, that's an interesting story, because actually nobody else wanted to buy it, and they were their biggest customer, I think, of the Stern dial maker. And so eventually they said, you know what, we just buy them if nobody else wants them, and we continue with this brand. Obviously they had some good ideas, but the funny thing is the Stern family was not basically a watchmaking family. They came from making specific parts and highly specialized, as the Swiss brands were, right? Nobody actually, and this is the funny thing, even Carol said this from Tag Heuer. He said Tag Heuer was, like all the other brands, an établisseur, I think, if I'm not mixing this up, basically means a manufacturer, but that not a creator of movements. They would just buy a movement, would buy a dial, buy a case, and just put it together. That was their job. They were a watchmaker, basically putting the pieces together, but not designing the pieces themselves necessarily. And that's why Patek also used JLC movements. They had their bracelet manufacturers, they had their dial makers, their hand makers, and so on. So it was really interesting to see this, of how the whole in-house craze came up. Vacheron Constantin, until I think 25, 30 years ago, they actually didn't even do their own movements, right? To a certain extent.
Yeah.
They ordered their movements from the likes of JLC and Piaget and others. So they basically just assembled the watch, made the cases, made other things, the finissage and all of these things, but they didn't actually create their own movements. Yeah, and so a watch dial maker basically became a watchmaker in this time. Yeah, since 1932. That's when they bought it.
Interesting. So we have, in a nutshell.
So yeah, what do you think? Do you think that they will make more watches now? It will be more approachable. They will get new people in their boutiques with this watch?
No. It's shooting yourself in the foot, because if they were to make something that was actually attractive, they would have far more demand than they have already, and that would become problematic as well. So this is a catch-22. The more popular you become, the harder it's going to be for anybody to buy your watches. So maybe in their mind, you make something ugly, and then
I don't think it's
people want.
I don't think they actually make it ugly. I think sometimes it's just you try so hard to do something that stays true to your DNA, because they wanted to make a sports watch, right? They didn't want to necessarily make it
They already have 2 sports watches. They don't need a third one.
Yeah, but then I think then they didn't want. They want the Nautilus. I think they want to push it up, right? With a more precious metal, with less steel available and all of this stuff. They want to keep it as a higher end VIP.
No,
piece.
the only way this watch works is alongside the Nautilus.
Yes,
because then you have your round one, you have your square one, and then that is a collection, right? That is 2 watches together.
But at the lower price point, right? That was the idea.
There's no need for, you make it exactly the same as a Nautilus. You make it in 2 different styles. Nautilus A, Nautilus B, boom, done. Halas.
I think it's not unclever. I think it's actually quite smart to have something that you bring, something new you bring in with
That's
a lower price.
That's what the Aquanaut does. That's what the Aquanaut should have done and should be doing.
It has done it for a long period of time. But now
Not
that
anymore.
Everything moved upwards, you have space, you've created space for something underneath, something cheaper, because everything moved so much higher. And I think the brands, because they're thinking long term, especially these Patek Philippe brand, I mean, they think 10, 20, 30 years, so, or 50 years in the future. So when they think, what do we do when we have only watches that cost $50,000? What if that's just we are pricing ourselves out of the market, right? And it could be eventually that you're just too expensive, and dropping the price is really, really bad. No luxury company wants to do that, right? So you just have to create something new that is a bit easier to do, to round your offerings a bit, to cover the price points.
Yes.
So you're not in the market then for one, I guess.
No way. Unless it's like 35 millimeters and 30,000 dirhams, then maybe.
Yeah, but I'm really wondering when I'm looking at the size of it, right? I mean, it looks, since it has the elephant ears, it looks like it is not too small.
Let's see.
Yeah. So we have green and blue. The blue one has the pointer, a small subdial with a pointer date and the moon phase, and a smaller running second offset to the right side. Which, I don't know if you have this picture in front of you. I don't at the moment. But the first time I saw it, I just thought, oh, that's a bit asymmetrical, right?
I like the first one better than the second one.
Oh, really? I thought the empty one is, empty as in, actually.
Yeah, as in less complicated,
yeah,
but
I thought it was
what can we say?
Let's see. The question is really, can you buy it? Will you get new people into the brand, or will this be so hot and so highly sought after that it will fetch such a premium that you will have the same situation again, that people will just gobble it up?
Of course, that's exactly what.
That's what you think it will, yeah.
Anyway, all right. On that bombshell, I think it's time to end.
I think it's a terrible disappointment this time.
It is. It is. Cub-what-us. Cub-what-us Maximus.
Okay, let's see. When is the official time when it's actually properly revealed?
October 16, I believe, in 2 days.
Oh, in 2 days' time. All right, then let's see.
Let's see what happens.
What the details will be of the sign.
Except you guys will already know.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Shocking.
On that ball.
All right then.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye.